Today we continue to see more pieces of evidence as well as more witnesses testify in this retrial. Now, one of those victims is a 61-year-old man who was laying in his bed inside his home, minding his own business when the shots rang out. If you take a look behind me, you can see these two Chevy Silverados. Both of them have no tires on them. That's because they've been stolen within the last several days. Area 5, you said the MJ look, the Michael Jackson look, is probably not the best look, especially here in the winter. And of course, I couldn't find my gloves, so that's okay. But I just want to tell you that I'm thrilled to be out here. You know, I can't stop, won't stop until I get enough. And then, of course, anyone who doesn't agree with it can just beat it. No, Lauren. In fact, 16 News Now spoke to residents at Riverside Terrace about this issue this time last year. And since then, residents say it's gotten a whole lot worse. This is where Representative Fred Upton has spent most of his time tonight monitoring this race. And so far, as you mentioned, accounting for more than 60% of the vote. Drove around for about an hour trying to find a family crazy enough to be outside. And guess what? I found one in Granger. It's the Oberweis family. Give me some noise, guys. Inside of overboard right here, live scene at Redbud. I mean, we told you we're going to take you for a ride because this is Redbud and you can do anything at Redbud, including getting into a helicopter. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, it is much safer down there behind your television screen than it is up here. All right, here we go, guys. Yeah, this is what I call an adventure. Hey! Gunshots.
These motherfuckers want to run off one gunshot, though. Oh, never mind, there's more.
More than 300 of them in one of the most violent weekends Patrols Division Chief Eric Crittendon says he has ever seen in South Bend.
It's been one of the highest numbers, and I've been on the department for 30 years, been one of the highest number of gunshots that we've had in that short time span.
Now police are calling out for the community to speak up and help put a stop to the reckless, dangerous, and criminal behavior.
We, with the community, need to come together to solve this. This is sad. We need to address this.
Among 9 separate shooting events recorded from Friday morning to Saturday night, at least 5 people were shot, including a 13-year-old boy on the city's southeast side. This church also damaged in a separate incident after a bullet blazed through its stained glass window while 2 cars were shooting at each other near North Brookfield Street. But most of the calls to police this weekend coming from the area near Olive and Bertrand Street, where this scene unfolded in the midnight hours on Sunday, ending in a woman being beaten. And shots fired, triggering dozens of people to disperse in a panic.
There was no need for gunshots. There was no need for a young female black to be beaten by several other female blacks. It's just uncalled for. That's where the community needs to step in. And when they see that, they need to call us.
It was one of the most bizarre situations I've ever seen. A train stopped between Plymouth and Culver for 31 hours, leaving the town of Burr Oak and everyone driving through it at a standstill.
It's just been a mess down here since yesterday.
Over the last 2 days, many drivers passing through the town of Burr Oak Township left searching for a way to get out.
Wow, is there a way around it? Do you know where the next railroad crossing is that I can get across? Is this shut down for a while or what?
Yeah, this has been reportedly been shut down for more than 24 hours.
Oh my gosh.
A Norfolk Southern train stopped for more than 24 hours.
This train has been parked here since 4:30 yesterday morning. Has not moved.
The reason? Railroad officials say engineers ran out of time.
They don't have any crews. The crew hit their time limit, so they had to stop the train.
And couldn't have done it in a more vulnerable spot in the middle of County Road 17, also known as the lifeline between Plymouth and Culver.
Emergency vehicle access, this is the main access for that. It's crazy, there's no reason, there's 10 cars that way, why they didn't break the train.
To make matters worse, when I arrived to the scene this morning, a driver was found passed out behind the wheel of his pickup truck while waiting for the tracks to clear.
When we got here this morning, there was a truck parked out here in the front and with his hood up.
Leaving Marshall County Commissioner Kevin Overmeyer no choice but to call the cops.
a guy who's kind of unresponsive and passed out.
And later was given a sobriety test and put in handcuffs, adding to the chaos that already stood still. However, after making several calls to railroad crews, the road finally reopened, leaving Overmeyer breathing a sigh of relief.
It's just great to have the tracks back open. Just, you know, like I had said earlier, it's a lifeline between Culver and Plymouth to the hospital up there, and to have it back opened up for emergency use, it's comforting to know that it's opened back up now.
Opening doors. They can be kind of scary when you don't know what's on the other side. It's sort of like the COVID-19 pandemic, the one that unexpectedly shut down schools, canceled sports, and now continues to fiddle with extracurriculars, leaving some students picking up the pieces they lost in a year unlike no other.
I started cello in 5th grade back at LaSalle. Practicing in my room, I'm completely alone. It's sort of like practicing in an empty auditorium. You don't have anybody there, it's just kind of you.
When you play in front of an audience, what do you feel?
It'll be a pang of nervousness. There could be a pang of fright. And then after all that, once you take a few deep breaths, it's just pure enjoyment.
As I sit here, you know, I do feel sometimes a little sad at the end of the day that we don't have that audience. And our orchestra, we always have at state competitions, students for 40, 50 years have gone on and come back with countless medals, and the kids really have a lot of pride here.
All of the extracurriculars I'm involved in, all the extra stuff I do to help out and interact around in the school with, and doing extra events. It's really been difficult kind of missing out on not being able to do some of that stuff.
As the pandemic continues, the fear of playing in front of an empty crowd,
Ooh, I lost it. That was a good one.
the new normal.
Wow, that was rough.
But despite the circumstances, students aren't falling for the lowering of expectations. They're ending on a high note.
Just the other day, I asked some of the students, I said, you know, is it possible that with this pandemic and lack of activities, that some of the people are picking up their instruments and practicing more? And actually, some of them said, yeah.
In this unfortunate circumstance, we've actually been able to have access to some really amazing musicians, which we probably wouldn't have access to otherwise. One of those things you have to get used to is playing in front of a camera and recording yourself. After stitching those videos together and listening to it, I'm like, wow, this still sounds really great even though we're not in person. It still sounds amazing.